Ah, I see you're finally awake. I was beginning to worry that perhaps you were suffering from more than merely a brief loss of consciousness. I must admit, I was quite surprised when I found you just lying in the forest along the path leading to my humble abode. Ranald must favor you, as most who try to find their way here often find more than they bargained for. The world is a dangerous place after all, especially during Kalzdazite. Chill Month isn't exactly the best time to be wandering about, with the nights growing longer with each passing day. It also seems likely that Geheimisnacht is rapidly approaching, for Morslib waxes with each eve and something foul lingers on the wind. So what brought you on this fool's errand, to seek me out when such vile portents are in ascendant? You seek knowledge of the world's evils, do you? The truly frightening and rare specimens that could perhaps threaten your life or those you cherish so dearly? Or did you lose someone and seek vengeance upon the nightmare responsible? I suppose it doesn't matter. You made the journey here in one piece, despite the odds, so the gods must desire for me to aid your quest for knowledge. Sit, then, and listen carefully. I will tell you of the creatures that lurk in the shadows of this world, entities that are known to few, but should be feared by all. As I'm sure you're aware, being a citizen of the Empire, the forests hide many dark and terrible things beneath their boughs. However, even among all of the infamous woods that you could venture to, there are few that can match the deadly nightmares found within the Forest of Shadows. During one of my many travels through that region, I came upon quite the sight. A path in the forest that had various bits of armor and torn flesh suspended in the air, or so it appeared at first. Upon closer inspection, I discovered that each of these items were in fact stuck fast to nearly invisible strands of silk that had been stretched between the trees. To my morbid fascination, I realized that I had discovered the lair of some Silkens. Such a fascinating species. There's some strange breed of spider that was likely created by the warping influence of chaos. Perhaps the Silkens were brought into existence by the same catastrophe that birthed the Beastmen into the world. When a titanic wave of chaotic energy washed across the world and caused various random creatures to fuse together or be altered to reflect some demented god's image of good creation. In any event, allow me to enlighten you about the Silken. They're relatively small creatures, never taller than 1 foot in height. As an offshoot of arachnids, they possess 8 limbs, but these appear like human arms, except for their tiny hands are equipped with sucker-like fingers. Their faces are quite alien, twisted into snarling expressions of pure hatred to reflect their cruel and vicious demeanor. Each Silken has 8 red eyes, but they are placed randomly about their heads without any consistency between specimens, no logic to it. Not only can this be quite frightening to the unsuspecting traveler, but it has the added benefit of allowing the Silken to see in all directions simultaneously. Furthermore, they have disgusting maws, filled with razored fangs that constantly drip with foul yellow bile that is incredibly venomous. However, the Silken's most significant feature is its silk duct. As they have humanoid forms, instead of producing their webs from an abdomen, instead they have a large, sucking orifice just above where the navel is on a human, or the belly button to put it simply. This bizarre hole is able to produce impressive quantities of adhesive silk. All the Silken need do is clench their body for a few moments for the orifice to spit out a thick wad of glue that they then stretch between 2 points. Vile-sounding creatures, aren't they? However, if you seek to hunt them, there are a few further warnings I must pass on to you. Do not underestimate the webbing of a Silken. No matter how strong you may be, there is no reclaiming what has been caught. Should your armor or clothing become stuck, your only safe choice is to carefully remove the adhered piece and keep out a watchful eye for further strands. Should your bare skin be caught, as painful as it may sound, you will not be taking that patch of flesh with you. If you have a steady hand or trusted companion, perhaps with a blade you could manage to slice off only the thinnest layer of flesh trapped. There's no way to destroy the strands that I have discovered. Even flame and magic are heavily resisted. It's quite unnatural. They will dissolve over time, a matter of days usually, but you would be a fool to attempt waiting them out. I once found a Bretonnian who had become quite entangled along with his noble steed, one of those questing knights who wandered the world seeking evil worthy of their blade. The poor lad's horse had panicked when it ran into the first strand, thrashing around until the two of them had been thoroughly stuck. By the time I discovered them, the horse had already bled out, the terrified creature attempting to escape through its impressive strength. But all it had managed to do was simply tear off so much of its own meat bit by bit that it had been left a gory ruin. That, of course, had started to attract the Silkens, the malevolent critters scurrying out from their hiding places among the twisted trees and feasting upon horseflesh. The knight told me he had managed to keep them away from his person thus far, as his impressive armor was far beyond their pathetic strength to sunder, and his blade more than capable of cutting them down in a single stroke. However, he was still trapped, as many strands stuck to his hair, chest, and legs. I couldn't help but consider that the horse may have made the wiser decision to end things quickly. Still, I am nothing if not kind, and offered to assist him in escaping his predicament. He refused me, however, as the knight had noticed that some of the strands had begun to dissolve, and he would eventually be free of the adhesive silk. I tried to warn him against such brazen foolishness, but he was adamant in not abandoning his armor that had been passed down for generations. So, I left my new companion. But allow me to illuminate the full scope of his error. For even as I walked away to continue my journey, I noticed the Silkens beginning to creep down from the shadowy heights of the canopy. Certainly, the knight could keep them at bay. For now. But soon enough, hunger, thirst, and a lack of sleep would begin to take its toll. In the name of gathering as much knowledge as possible, I decided to linger around the area to see how the dilemma would play out. Much to my surprise, perhaps due to incredible willpower or some blessing from the lady, the young knight managed to survive long enough for the silk to dissolve. Nearing delirium from the days he had spent without supplies or rest, he had dragged himself towards the beckoning path of freedom from the Silken's territory. But then he ran into another web. Luckily, he had been careful to hold out his hand, so only lost a gauntlet to acquire freedom. So he tried a different route, and found even more strands. I suspect his psyche began to crack as he attempted every possible route, only to find each blocked by the adhesive. There was no way out. The Silkens had trapped him, and for every attempt he made to escape, another piece of armor or clothing was sacrificed. In despair, or perhaps madness, I saw him use what little strength he had to swing his greatsword in a mighty arc to hack his way to freedom, only for the blade to become ensnared. Now he had nothing, and in the waning light of what little sun could pierce the canopy, the Silkens began to creep out from their holes. He was certainly a strong lad, but outnumbered and exhausted. It didn't take long for the Silkens to herd him into another strand of silk. The moment his movement was restricted, allowed them to set upon him with their venomous bites. I managed to walk quite some time before the screams finally faded into silence. Beware the Silkens, and should you ever have the misfortune of becoming stuck to one of their strands, you must do whatever it takes to get free and escape quickly. But careful, lest your struggles only ensnare even more of your body. Do not delay, as the moment those spiteful creatures know you're there, they'll cut off every possible escape route with more and more of their horrid silk. They are patient and quiet and truly cruel entities who delight in the taste of warm flesh, especially human flesh. Watch where you walk and never wander through the forest of shadows alone, especially at night. I think that is enough for now. You look exhausted. I'll get a stew going while you rest, and we'll continue lessons soon. So long as you choose to stay here, the rules are simple. Don't go out at night, and stay out of my library. Behave, and you'll live to make use of all the knowledge I'll bestow upon you. While you rest, consider what type of environment you wish to know more about the nightmares who dwell there, and let me know. Where do you intend on traveling? Perhaps I can provide you with some crucial knowledge. Simply leave a note down below. I'll find it. Till then, sleep tight, and don't let the Spider-Men bite. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all my wonderful, sexy patrons for their support. Without you awesome badasses, I wouldn't be able to do all the crazy stuff I've been up to lately, and I've been up to a lot. And, of course, I want to thank the big lads for their extremely generous support of my work. Eric, CJ Ubusta, Charles Bode, Jeffrey Ramers, Wendell Short Eyes, Odin Eggen Bull Akron, Sign of the Emperor, and Higgins the Seagull. Thank you all very much for your extreme support. I very much appreciate it. In any event, this will be a fun series taking place over the course of October. As I'm finishing up some other big projects I think everyone will be very, very excited to see coming to fruition. I want to get back to teaching all about Warhammer lore, especially with shorter form videos that I can pump out much easier on my own. I think it's been far too long since I've made a strong effort to reclaim my title as Loremaster. Hopefully, the roleplay aspect of the video wasn't too cringy. People seem to enjoy that aspect of the Heroes of Legend videos, so I thought I'd mess around with it a little more. Anyway, that's all for now. More spooky stuff to come this month. Toodles.